Who fixed my armor? The alien queen roared. A lone human engineer answered. Explosions shook the land, and the air smelled of burning fuel and scorched metal. In the middle of it all, a figure stood tall, a queen among warriors, her presence dominating even the carnage around her. Lysera, the alien queen, had survived an ambush that would have killed almost anyone. Her battle armor, the symbol of her strength and authority, was broken in several places. Sparks flew from cracks in the metal, and smoke drifted up from the scorched panels. Lysera slammed her gauntlet on the ground and roared. The sound was sharp, full of anger, and carried over the chaos of the battlefield. Her voice shook the nearby soldiers. "Who fixed my armor?" she demanded. Her words were a challenge, a roar that demanded obedience and explanation. Her guards, the elite warriors who had trained and fought beside her for years, looked around nervously. None of them had touched her armor. None of them had dared to approach it while she was alive and standing. They were silent, too afraid to answer her. From the shadows, a small figure moved forward. He was human, shorter than any alien around him, and his uniform was covered in soot and dirt. His hands were greasy and his sleeves rolled up to his elbows. A small toolkit hung from his belt, clinking softly as he walked. The aliens noticed him and whispered to each other. Humans were weak. They were soft. They were not warriors. And yet here he was, stepping into the open, unafraid of the queen's fury. Lysera turned sharply, her eyes glowing with a bright, sharp light. She looked at him, her head tilting slightly. She could feel the difference in his presence. He did not tremble. He did not try to hide. He stood straight and looked her directly in the eyes. There was something in him that made her pause. "You," she said, pointing at him with a gauntlet-clad finger. "You dare touch my armor?" The human, Alex Carter, nodded slowly. "I didn't touch it before. I was only observing. I just wanted to help." His voice was calm, soft, but there was a firmness in it. He did not sound afraid. Lysera's guards murmured. One of them stepped forward, hand on weapon, ready to strike. "Your Majesty, he is only human. He cannot—" "Silence," Lysera snapped. Her voice cut through the noise of battle like a blade. She glared at her guard, and he fell back, trembling. "I will decide if he can touch my armor. You may be my warriors, but you will obey me." The battlefield went quiet for a moment. The explosion still rumbled in the distance, and smoke curled into the sky, but around the queen and the human, everything seemed to pause. Lysera studied him closely. He was small, his uniform simple, his hands dirty, and yet there was no fear in his eyes. There was confidence, curiosity, and a strange kind of calm that she had not expected. "You understand the risks?" Lysera asked. Her voice was quieter now, but still full of authority. "If you make a mistake, I will destroy you. Do you understand, human?" Alex nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty, I understand." Lysera's eyes narrowed. "Why should I allow a human to touch my armor? Humans are weak, fragile, and useless in war. What makes you think you can do what my best engineers cannot?" Alex shifted slightly but did not move back. He held up his toolkit. "I have studied your armor. I have seen how it works. I may not be a warrior, but I know machines. I know how to fix them. I can make it stronger than it was before." Lysera tilted her head. She had seen many engineers in her life, all alien, all trained from birth in her kingdom's best schools. None of them had been able to work under pressure like this, in the middle of a battlefield with explosions all around. This human was speaking as if it were normal. Calm, confident, and not trembling, it made her curious. "Very well," she said after a long pause. "I will allow it, but one wrong move—" Her eyes glowed brighter and her voice grew sharper. "And you die." Alex swallowed but nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty." Lysera stepped back and the human approached the broken armor. Sparks flew from the cracks and the metal bent slightly under the heat of battle. The queen watched closely. Her armor was not just metal. It was a symbol of her power, a mix of ancient alien technology and advanced materials. No human should have been able to understand it. And yet, here was one, stepping forward confidently to touch it. Alex opened his toolkit and took out small tools, scanning panels, circuits, and energy conduits. He worked quickly but carefully, examining each broken section. He touched wires with gloved hands, pressed buttons, and adjusted tiny screws and panels. The sparks flew, the metal hissed, but he moved with a steady hand. Lysera crouched slightly behind her guards, watching. She could feel the heat from the armor, see the small arcs of electricity jump from one panel to another. Yet he did not seem afraid. He moved with purpose, as if he had done this 100 times. One of her guards whispered, "Your Majesty, he cannot possibly know what he is doing. Humans are too weak, too simple for this level of technology." Lysera's eyes narrowed. "Watch and see," she said. "If he fails, he dies. If he succeeds—" She did not finish the sentence but felt a strange twinge of curiosity and hope. Hours seemed to pass, though in reality it was only a few minutes. Alex's hands moved fast but with precision. He soldered broken circuits, replaced damaged parts, and even adjusted energy shields that had failed. Each movement was careful, deliberate, and smart. He was using his knowledge of machines and energy flow in a way that no alien engineer had tried before. Finally, Alex stepped back. He wiped his hands on a rag and looked up at the Queen. "I think it is ready," he said. Lysera stepped closer, her guards parting instinctively. She touched the armor and her eyes widened. The cracks and sparks were gone. Energy flowed evenly through the armor. Shields were stronger. Weapon systems hummed quietly but powerfully. The armor looked almost new, better than before. She turned sharply to Alex. You fixed it." Her voice was a mixture of disbelief and awe. Alex nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty. I used some earth materials for reinforcement. I had to improvise a little, but it works." Lysera's eyes softened slightly, though her expression was still stern. She studied him. No human should have been able to do this. No human should have survived the battlefield, let alone repair her armor. Yet here he was, standing in front of her, confident, unafraid, and brilliant. One of her guards muttered under his breath, "This is impossible." "A human?" Lysera raised a hand, and the guard fell silent. "Yes, it is possible," she said quietly, "and yet it has happened." She looked at Alex again. "You have courage, human, you have skill, and you have survived when others would have died." Alex's chest rose and fell with a steady rhythm. He did not bow, but he did not step forward arrogantly either. He simply stood there, calm, ready, waiting for her next command. Lysera's mind raced. Humans were not supposed to be this way. They were fragile. They were weak. But this human was strong in ways she had never considered. He was not a warrior, but he had bravery. He was not a queen, but he had intelligence. And he had not run away from danger. She looked around at the battlefield. Her enemies were retreating, broken and confused by the sudden appearance of her repaired armor. Her guards stared at Alex, their disbelief clear. And Lysera felt something she had not felt in years, hope. "You, human," she said finally, her voice softening. "You have earned my attention, perhaps even my respect. For the first time, I see that humans may be more than I thought." Alex nodded again, quietly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I am only doing what I can." Lysera studied him one last time before turning her attention back to the battlefield. She could feel the power of her armor coursing through her body, stronger and more reliable than ever. And she knew that this human had made it possible. For the first time, she wondered what other things humans could do. And somewhere in the back of her mind, a small, dangerous thought grew. If this human could survive the battlefield and repair her armor, perhaps he could survive anything. Perhaps humans were not so weak after all. And Lysera, the queen who had conquered countless worlds, had just met one who might change her view of an entire species. Alex crouched next to the broken armor, the ground rough and hot under his knees. Sparks still flew from the damaged circuits, and the air smelled of smoke and scorched metal. Around him, the battlefield was still active. Some of Lysera's enemies had regrouped and were attempting a second attack, but the queen's presence and the partially repaired armor kept them at bay. Alex ignored the explosions in the distance. He focused only on the armor. Each panel, each joint, each energy circuit was a challenge, but he was ready for it. He pulled out a small device from his toolkit, a scanner he had modified back on Earth. The scanner sent a thin blue light over the damaged sections, highlighting broken energy lines and fractured plating. Alex frowned as he saw the extent of the damage. Some circuits were melted beyond repair. Some plating had cracked so deep that if he simply tried to fix them, they would collapse under stress. He needed a new plan. "Do you need help?" one of Lysera's guards asked, stepping closer. He was still wary, but curiosity had won over fear. Alex shook his head. "I can manage. But keep the enemies at a distance. Don't let anyone get close." The guard nodded and moved back to his position, forming a protective circle around Alex and the armor. The other guards remained tense, their eyes flicking between Alex and Lysera. The queen was silent, watching him with her glowing eyes. She had never seen a human work like this in the middle of chaos without fear. Alex began with the plating. He pulled out a small, portable welding tool, one he had modified to work with alien metals. He tested it on a small crack first. Sparks flew and a hiss came from the armor as the heat sealed the fracture. Alex smiled slightly. It was working. He moved from panel to panel, carefully welding broken parts and reinforcing weak spots. Every movement was precise. He had studied alien metals in his training, but seeing them in action was different. They reacted unpredictably, expanding and contracting with heat, and some conducted energy in strange ways. Alex adjusted his technique, learning as he worked. Lysera leaned closer, her eyes narrowing as she watched. "How does he know what to do?" she whispered to one of her guards. I do not know, Your Majesty. Humans should not be able to understand this level of technology," the guard replied. Lysera frowned. Humans were supposed to be fragile. They were supposed to be simple. And yet this one was doing something impossible. She watched as Alex moved with confidence, adjusting circuits and panels that should have been beyond his understanding. Suddenly, one of the energy conduits sparked violently, sending a shower of sparks into the air. Alex jumped back, but only slightly. His reflexes were fast. He reached into his toolkit and pulled out a small shield device, placing it over the exposed conduit. The sparks bounced off harmlessly. "Impressive," Lysera muttered under her breath. She had not expected him to react so quickly. Most engineers would have panicked, most humans would have run, but not this one. Alex wiped sweat from his forehead and moved to the next section. The energy circuits were intertwined, like a network of veins. He had to carefully disconnect damaged lines, replace them with new conductors, and reconnect everything without overloading the system. He worked steadily, ignoring the roar of battle around him. A sudden explosion shook the ground nearby. Dust and debris fell around him. One of Lysera's guards shouted a warning, but Alex did not flinch. He adjusted the placement of a panel that had been slightly dislodged by the blast. His hands moved quickly, and within moments it was secure again. Lysera's heart beat faster as she watched. The human's calm under pressure was unlike anything she had seen. Most of her warriors would have panicked, but he was steady, focused, and fast. She realized that humans might have strength she had never considered. Their bodies were not as strong as hers, their weapons not as advanced, but their minds were something else entirely. Alex began repairing the energy conduits. He carefully removed the damaged wires and replaced them with ones he had brought from Earth. He had no idea if they were exactly compatible, but he had calculated the energy flow and adjusted the connections. The conduit hummed as energy flowed through it, stronger than before. Alex smiled. It worked. A guard stepped forward, still skeptical. "Your Majesty, are you sure this is safe? He is human." Lysera turned to the guard, her eyes flashing. "Do you see him panicking? Do you see him failing? No, watch and learn." "Perhaps humans are not as weak as we think." Alex moved to the weapon systems next. The armor's cannons were damaged in the ambush. Some could not fire, and others misfired dangerously. He opened a panel and examined the control circuits. He connected a small device to test the flow of energy. Sparks jumped from one connection to another, but Alex stayed calm. He replaced broken conductors, adjusted power levels, and aligned targeting systems. Each movement was deliberate. Suddenly, one of the cannons fired a warning shot, triggered by a misaligned circuit. The blast went high into the sky, harmless but loud. Alex did not panic. He quickly shut down the power, fixed the connection, and tested it again. This time, it worked perfectly. The cannon hummed, ready to fire at his command. Lysera's guards began to murmur among themselves. How is he doing this?" one of them whispered. Lysera did not answer. She was watching Alex, her mind racing. If a human could do this, what else could they do? Perhaps their brains worked differently. Perhaps they saw problems in ways aliens could not. She felt a mixture of awe and caution. This human was changing her perception of his entire species. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. Alex moved from one system to another, repairing damage, reinforcing weak spots, and recalibrating controls. His movements were precise, quick, and efficient. Every repair he made improved the armor, making it stronger than it had been before the ambush. Lysera finally stepped closer. "Human," she said, her voice steady. "Do you realize what you are doing? This armor, it is not just protection. It is the symbol of my power. If you fail, my enemies could kill me. And if you succeed..." She did not finish, but her eyes glowed with a mixture of curiosity and respect. Alex looked up briefly. I understand, Your Majesty. I will not fail. I am used to pressure. On Earth, we face problems every day that seem impossible. We find solutions. I can do the same here. Lysera studied him. His calm, his confidence, and his skill were all remarkable. She had seen many engineers, even elite ones trained from birth, fail under pressure. But this human was not only surviving, he was thriving. He was solving problems she had thought unsolvable. A sudden alarm sounded from the armor. One of the power cores was unstable. Alex moved quickly, using a small tool to adjust the core's alignment. Sparks flew, and the energy pulsed around him, but he stayed steady. He completed the adjustment, and the core stabilized. The armor hummed with energy, more powerful and balanced than ever. Lysera's eyes widened. He fixed it," she whispered. "He made it stronger." Alex wiped sweat from his brow and looked up at the Queen. "It is ready, Your Majesty," he said simply. Lysera stepped closer and touched the armor. She felt the energy flow, stronger and smoother than before. She looked at Alex, her expression a mix of disbelief and admiration. "You, human, you have done what no one else could do." "My armor is not just repaired, it is better than before." Alex nodded. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I used some Earth materials and techniques. They are simple but effective. I hope it is acceptable." Lysera smiled slightly, a rare and dangerous expression. "Acceptable. It is extraordinary. You have skill, courage, and intelligence. You have survived when others would have failed. You have earned my respect, human." Her guards exchanged glances, still skeptical but slowly beginning to realize that Alex was no ordinary human. He had faced the battlefield, repaired the Queen's armor, and survived without fear. He had done what aliens could not. Alex stood quietly, taking it all in. He did not boast. He did not act proud. He simply nodded, ready to continue if needed. He had more work to do, and he was prepared for it. Lysera's mind raced. Humans were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to be simple, and yet this one had changed everything she thought she knew. Perhaps humans were more than she had imagined. Perhaps they had strengths that could rival even the most elite alien warriors. She looked at him and said quietly, "You have surprised me, human. Do not make me regret trusting you." Alex smiled slightly. "I won't, Your Majesty, I promise." For the first time, Lysera felt hope in the middle of the battlefield. She realized that perhaps humans, small and fragile as they seemed, had a power that aliens often overlooked. Their minds, their creativity, and their courage could make them allies like no other. And Alex Carter, a lone human engineer, had just proven it. Alex had been working for hours, repairing the Queen's armor, but the battle was far from over. Explosions still shook the ground, and debris flew across the field. Dust filled the air, making it hard to see, but Alex moved carefully, focused entirely on the task. Every second counted. One wrong move could not only damage the armor again, but could also put both him and the Queen in grave danger. He examined the energy shields next. Some of the shield generators were damaged, their power unstable. If they failed, the Queen would be vulnerable to any attack. Alex carefully opened a panel and examined the circuits. They were delicate, twisting like wires in a spider's web. He studied them closely, thinking quickly about how to stabilize the energy flow. Lysera watched him from a few steps away, her glowing eyes fixed on his hands. She could see how small and fragile he looked compared to her massive armor and towering form, yet he moved with confidence and skill. The Queen had fought many battles and defeated countless enemies, but humans had always seemed weak to her. This one human, however, was proving her wrong with every movement. Alex pulled out a small device from his toolkit and connected it to the shield generator. A soft hum rose from the device, and the unstable energy lines glowed a steady blue. He adjusted several dials, twisted small screws, and rewired the circuits carefully. Sparks flew from the connections, but he remained calm. He had done simulations in his mind, imagining the flow of energy like water through pipes. The shields hummed steadily, their energy flowing evenly. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the battlefield. A group of enemy ships had sneaked closer than expected. One of their energy blasts hit a nearby tower, sending debris flying toward Alex and the Queen. Lysera raised her arm instinctively, trying to block the debris with her armor, but she was not fully protected yet. Alex reacted instantly. He grabbed a nearby shield generator he had prepared and threw it between them and the debris. The device absorbed most of the impact, sparing both him and the Queen. He landed on one knee but stayed focused. Lysera looked at him with surprise and admiration. You saved me, she said quietly. Her voice was not angry anymore. It held a note of respect. She had expected humans to panic, to run, to fail. But this one had acted faster than some of her own elite guards. Alex shook his head. Just making sure my work isn't wasted, Your Majesty. He smiled slightly and went back to the armor, reconnecting wires and adjusting circuits. The enemy ships began firing again, energy blasts tearing through the ground around them. Lysera's guards opened fire, their weapons precise, but Alex did not flinch. He ignored the battle and focused on finishing the repairs. His hands moved fast but carefully, attaching panels, connecting wires, and recalibrating the armor's internal systems. One of the Queen's cannons was still offline. Alex knelt next to it, examining the control system. The wires were twisted and melted, and a thin layer of dust had entered the targeting system. He took out a small brush and gently cleaned the circuits, then connected a replacement wire he had carried. The cannon hummed softly, showing signs of life. Lysera stepped closer. "Do you know what you are doing?" she asked. She had to admit that she was impressed. Most humans would have given up by now. Most humans would have been overwhelmed, but Alex was calm, focused, and skillful. Alex nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty, I've studied these kinds of systems before. It takes patience and careful work. It's not about strength, it's about understanding." Lysera's guards exchanged glances. They had trained for decades and had never seen anyone repair her armor like this. They whispered quietly among themselves. Perhaps humans were more capable than they had been taught to believe. Alex moved to the energy conduits again. A few were still damaged, and the power flowing through them was unstable. If he did not fix them, the Queen would have limited mobility and reduced protection. He connected a small device to test the flow of energy. Sparks jumped and hissed, but Alex did not move back. He adjusted the circuits carefully, aligning conductors and stabilizing the energy flow. Suddenly, one of the enemy ships swooped low, targeting the Queen directly. Lysera raised her arm, but she was not fully protected yet. Alex noticed immediately. He jumped up, pulling a small portable generator from his belt. He activated it, and a temporary energy shield formed around the Queen. The blast from the ship hit the shield and dispersed harmlessly. Lysera's eyes widened. You did that in time?" she asked, her voice mixed with disbelief and admiration. Alex nodded. "I saw it coming. I couldn't let your armor take more damage, Your Majesty." She studied him carefully. Every moment he had worked had shown her that humans were capable of more than she had ever imagined. They were not as strong physically, but their minds were clever and fast. They could react to danger in ways she and her people could not. Alex moved to the last section of the armor. The movement systems had been damaged in the ambush. Some of the joints were stiff, and others would not respond to the Queen's movements. If he did not fix them, she would be slower in battle and vulnerable. He worked quickly, removing damaged servos and replacing them with reinforced components. He tested each joint carefully, making small adjustments to balance weight and energy flow. The armor's movements became smoother, faster, and stronger with every adjustment. A loud alarm rang from one of the enemy ships. They were regrouping for another attack, and this time they were aiming to overwhelm the Queen. Lysera looked at Alex, her eyes filled with a mixture of trust and urgency. "You must finish before they reach us," she said. Alex did not panic. He had expected this. He worked faster, still careful, adjusting the remaining circuits and connections. Sweat dripped from his forehead, but he did not stop. He knew that the Queen's life depended on his skill. The enemy ship fired again, energy blasts tearing through the ground near them. Alex ducked and rolled, reaching the final circuit panel. With precise movements, he connected the last wires and secured the panels. The armor hummed with power, energy flowing perfectly through every system. Lysera tested the armor, moving her arms and legs. The movements were smooth and responsive. The cannons were ready and the energy shields were stable. She looked at Alex, and for the first time she smiled. It was a small smile, but it held respect, approval, and even admiration. "You have done it," she said quietly. "You have repaired my armor under fire. You have done what no human, no alien could have done." "You have my respect," Alex nodded. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did what I could. The rest is up to you." Lysera turned to her guards. "This human is remarkable. He has courage, skill, and intelligence. He has survived where others would have failed. Perhaps humans are stronger than we thought." Her guards looked at each other, surprised. They had always believed humans were weak, fragile, and useless in battle, but Alex had proven them wrong. He had repaired the Queen's armor under impossible conditions and survived. The enemy ships hesitated as Lysera stood up, her armor fully repaired and stronger than ever. She raised her arms, and the cannons hummed with power. Energy shields glowed around her, ready to absorb any attack. The battlefield seemed to pause for a moment. The enemy knew they were facing something powerful, and it was not just the Queen. Alex stepped back slightly, giving her space. He watched her move in the armor, testing her strength and mobility. Everything was working perfectly. The Queen was protected, her weapons were ready, and the shields were stable. Lysera's eyes met his. "You have done more than repair my armor, human. You have given me confidence. You have given me power. And you have shown me that humans are not weak. They are clever, brave, and capable of greatness." Alex smiled slightly. "I am glad I could help your majesty, but the work is not done. You must still lead your forces and win this battle." Lysera nodded. "Yes, and with this armor I will." She turned to face the enemy ships. Her presence alone was intimidating. The repaired armor made her look stronger, faster, and more dangerous than ever. Alex watched from the side, knowing that his work had made a difference. The Queen's strength was now partly his doing, and that gave him a sense of pride. Not pride in himself, but in humanity. He had shown that humans could survive, adapt, and even excel in situations that seemed impossible. The enemy ships hesitated, unsure how to attack. They could see the Queen, fully armored and ready, and they could see the human engineer who had made it possible. It was a sight they had not expected. Lysera raised her hand and signaled her forces. The Queen moved with grace and power, her repaired armor allowing her to fight with speed and precision. Alex stayed behind, watching carefully, ready to assist if needed. The battlefield had changed. The Queen was stronger, and the humans, at least one human, had proven their worth. Lysera realized that perhaps this human and his kind could be a key to her victory. And in that moment, she decided she would never underestimate humans again. Alex watched as Lysera adjusted to her fully repaired armor. Every movement was smooth and controlled, every step confident and strong. The energy shields glowed brightly around her, protecting her from incoming debris and energy blasts. The cannons hummed quietly, ready to fire at a moment's notice. Alex felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. He had repaired the armor, but the battle was not over. Now it was time to see if his work could truly make a difference. Lysera stepped forward, testing the movement systems. Her legs moved with agility, her arms swung freely, and her head turned with precision. The joints worked perfectly, and the energy flow was steady. She looked down at Alex. "This armor, it feels different, stronger, lighter, faster. You have done well, human." Alex nodded. "I did my best, your majesty. Now it is your turn to use it." The Queen's guards looked at him with a mixture of surprise and respect. They had always believed humans were weak, fragile, and incapable of handling alien technology. Yet here was one human who had repaired the Queen's armor under fire and had made it even stronger than before. They whispered to each other, unsure what to think. Suddenly, a loud alarm rang across the battlefield. A fleet of enemy ships had returned, larger and more organized than before. They moved with precision, their weapons ready to destroy anything in their path. Lysera's eyes glowed, and she raised her arm, signaling her forces to prepare. Alex stepped back, observing the battlefield. He had repaired the armor, but he knew it could still be damaged. He had to be ready to assist if anything went wrong. His mind raced, thinking of ways to protect the Queen and maximize the armor's capabilities. The enemy fleet fired the first shots. Energy blasts tore through the ground, sending smoke and debris into the air. Lysera moved with confidence, her repaired armor absorbing the impacts. Sparks flew, but the shields held. She raised her arm, and the cannons on her armor fired back. Beams of energy shot forward, hitting the enemy ships with precision. Some ships were destroyed immediately, others exploded after multiple hits. Alex's heart raced. The armor was performing exactly as he had hoped, better even. He saw how the Queen moved, dodging attacks and striking back with power. The repairs he had made to the joints, the energy flow, and the shields were working perfectly. He smiled slightly. Humanity had made a difference. One of the enemy ships fired a focused energy blast directly at the Queen. Lysera raised her arm, but the blast was too fast, too strong. Alex reacted instantly. He grabbed a small, portable energy diffuser from his belt and activated it. A wave of energy spread out from the device, dispersing the blast harmlessly. Lysera barely noticed the danger. The Queen's guards stared in amazement. They had trained for years to protect her, and here was a human who had saved her in a split second. One of them whispered, "He is incredible." Lysera moved forward, leading the attack. Her armor's cannons fired continuously, destroying enemy ships with precise accuracy. The energy shields absorbed attacks, allowing her to advance without hesitation. Alex watched closely, ready to assist. He had anticipated potential damage points and had set up small emergency tools around the Queen. Another enemy ship swooped low, attempting a surprise attack. Lysera's armor absorbed the impact, but one of the joint servos was slightly damaged. Alex reacted instantly, activating a small repair drone he had prepared. The drone flew to the damaged joint and began making adjustments while Lysera continued to fight. Within seconds, the servo was functioning perfectly again. Lysera glanced down at Alex and nodded slightly. She did not stop fighting, but her eyes showed a mixture of trust and respect. This human had not only repaired her armor, but was now actively protecting her during battle. The enemy fleet began to retreat, realizing they were no match for the Queen's repaired armor and the unexpected assistance of a human engineer. Lysera moved forward, striking the remaining ships with precision. One by one, they were destroyed or forced to flee. The battlefield fell silent, except for the crackling of energy from the Queen's armor. Alex exhaled, relieved. The Queen was safe and the enemy had been defeated. He had done his part and the armor had performed beyond his expectations. Lysera stepped forward, her armor glowing brightly, her movements strong and confident. She looked at Alex, her expression serious but filled with admiration. "You have done more than repair my armor, human," she said. "You have changed the outcome of this battle. You have saved lives, including mine. You have my deepest respect." Alex nodded humbly. "I only did what I could, Your Majesty. Your skill and courage made it all possible." Lysera's guards, once skeptical and dismissive, now looked at Alex with newfound respect. They had seen his skill, his quick thinking, and his courage. A human had not only repaired the Queen's armor under fire, but had also protected her during battle. They could not deny it. Humans were capable of more than they had believed. Lysera turned to her forces. "We have won this battle thanks to courage and skill, not just strength. Remember this, adaptability and intelligence are just as important as power." Alex felt a surge of pride. He had not only repaired the Queen's armor, but had also shown the aliens that humans could be clever, brave, and invaluable in battle. He realized that humanity's greatest weapon was not their strength, but their minds and their ability to adapt. The Queen moved closer to him. "You have proven yourself, human. Few could have done what you did. You have my trust and my gratitude." Alex smiled slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I am honored to help." Lysera studied him for a moment. "Your people are underestimated by many, including my own kind. But you have shown that humans are capable of great things. Perhaps one day they will fight alongside us, not as weaklings, but as equals." Alex nodded. "I hope so, Your Majesty. Humans are clever and determined. We can adapt to almost anything." The Queen looked at the battlefield, surveying the aftermath. Her repaired armor had allowed her to move with speed, strength, and precision. She had defeated the enemy fleet and had survived attacks that would have destroyed her before. And it was all thanks to a human engineer who had worked tirelessly under impossible conditions. Lysera turned to Alex again. "You have my word. You will have a place in my court. You will be my chief engineer and advisor. I will not underestimate humans again." Alex felt a mixture of pride and humility. He had not expected recognition, only the chance to do his job and help. But being trusted by the Queen, by someone as powerful and respected as Lysera, was more than he could have imagined. The Queen's guards moved closer, still cautious but respectful. They had seen the human's skill and courage firsthand. One of them stepped forward. "Your Majesty, this human, he is remarkable. Perhaps we should learn from him." Lysera nodded. "Indeed. Humans may be small, but they are clever and brave. We should not dismiss them." Alex continued to observe the battlefield. He knew that the repairs he had made were holding up well. The armor was functioning perfectly, the shields were stable, and the weapon systems were ready for any future attacks. He felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that his work had made a difference. Lysera raised her arm, signaling her forces to regroup. The battle was over for now, but she knew that this victory was just one of many in a long war. She looked at Alex and nodded. You have proven yourself today, human. Your skill, courage, and intelligence have saved lives. I will not forget it. Alex bowed slightly. Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did my best. The queen moved closer, her glowing eyes studying him. You are clever, human. You think quickly and act decisively. Your people may be underestimated, but you have shown that humans can achieve greatness. Alex smiled, feeling proud but humble. He had repaired the armor, protected the queen, and helped win the battle. But he knew there was more work to do. The war was not over, and challenges would continue to come. Lysera turned to her forces, her voice strong and commanding. Prepare for the next battle, but remember, strength alone is not enough. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability are just as important. Today, we have learned the value of humans. Alex stepped back, watching her move with confidence. The queen's repaired armor allowed her to fight with incredible speed and precision. He knew that his work had made a difference, but he also knew that the true strength lay in the queen herself. For the first time, Lysera realized that humans were more than just fragile creatures. They could be clever, brave, and invaluable allies, and Alex Carter had proven it beyond doubt. The battlefield fell silent except for the hum of the queen's armor. Smoke drifted into the sky and the ground was littered with debris, but the victory was clear. The queen had survived, the enemy had been defeated, and humans had earned respect in a way they never had before. Lysera turned to Alex one last time. You have my trust, human. You have my respect, and you have proven that humans are capable of great things. I will not forget this day. Alex nodded. Thank you, Your Majesty. I will continue to serve and do my best. As the sun began to rise over the battlefield, its light reflecting off the repaired armor, Alex felt a sense of pride and purpose. He had survived, succeeded, and proven that humans could stand alongside the most powerful beings in the galaxy. And Lysera, the queen who had once doubted humans, now knew the truth. They were clever, brave, and capable of greatness beyond imagination. The battlefield was quiet now. Smoke curled into the sky and the ground was scarred with craters from explosions. The enemy ships had retreated, and the remaining forces were regrouping under the command of Lysera. The queen's armor glowed softly, fully repaired and stronger than ever. She moved with confidence, her steps steady and precise, the cannons on her arms humming lightly as they powered down. Alex Carter stood a few steps away, his toolkit now empty and worn from hours of work. His uniform was covered in soot and sweat, and his hands were black from grease and dust. He breathed heavily, but he felt a deep satisfaction. He had done what he had come to do. He had repaired the queen's armor under impossible conditions, protected her during battle, and had shown that humans were more capable than many believed. Lysera approached him, her glowing eyes fixed on his face. For the first time, her expression softened, a mix of pride, curiosity, and respect. Human, she said, her voice steady but calm, you have done what no one else could do. You repaired my armor under fire, you saved my life, and you have changed my perception of your people. Tell me, what is your name? Alex Carter, Your Majesty, he replied, bowing slightly out of respect. Lysera nodded. Alex Carter, remember this day. You have proven that humans are clever, brave, and capable of greatness. I will not forget it. The queen's guards looked on, still unsure of how to react. They had trained for years to protect the queen and to fight alongside her in battle. And yet, here was a human who had repaired her armor, saved her in combat, and helped win the battle. It was a strange feeling for them, one of respect mixed with disbelief. One of the guards stepped forward hesitantly. Your Majesty, this human, he has done more than any of us. Perhaps we should learn from him, understand his ways. Lysera's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Yes. Humans may be small, fragile, and underestimated, but they have something we lack. Creativity, courage, and adaptability. These are their strengths, and today Alex Carter has shown us all that humans are not to be dismissed lightly. Alex felt a wave of pride, though he tried to remain humble. He had always known humans could adapt, think quickly, and solve problems, but he had never expected to gain the respect of an alien queen and her elite warriors. He realized that this was more than a personal achievement. It was a chance to change the way the galaxy saw humans. Lysera stepped closer, her glowing eyes studying him. Alex Carter, you will come with me. You will be my chief engineer and advisor. I trust your skill, your intelligence, and your courage. You will help us prepare for the battles to come. Alex's heart raced. I am honored, Your Majesty. I will do my best. The Queen's guards whispered among themselves. A human in such a position of trust was unheard of. They had always believed that humans were too weak, too fragile, too simple to be valuable in war. But Alex had changed all that. They looked at him now with respect, some even bowing slightly in acknowledgement of his skill and bravery. Lysera turned her attention to the battlefield. The enemy had retreated for now, but the war was far from over. She would need allies, strong and capable ones, to secure victory. And Alex Carter, the human who had repaired her armor and saved her life, would be at her side. Alex watched her, noting the power and confidence in her movements. Her repaired armor allowed her to move swiftly, strike with precision, and withstand attacks that would have destroyed her before. He knew that his work had made a difference, and he felt proud knowing that humans could contribute in ways that aliens often overlooked. The Queen raised her arm, signaling her forces to regroup. Soldiers and warriors moved into formation, ready to defend their territory and prepare for future battles. Lysera's armor hummed with power as she moved among her forces, giving orders and assessing their readiness. Alex stayed nearby, ready to assist if needed. He checked the energy levels, the weapon systems, and the shields, making sure everything was functioning perfectly. As the sun began to rise over the battlefield, its light reflecting off the repaired armor, Lysera turned to Alex again. "You have earned a place in my court, Alex Carter. You will not only serve as my engineer, but also as my advisor. Humans have much to offer, and you will help us see that." Alex bowed again. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will not let you down." The Queen studied him for a moment, then nodded. "I believe you, human. Today you have proven that humans are not weak. You are clever, brave, and capable of greatness, and you have shown us that we should not underestimate your kind." Lysera's guards moved closer, still cautious but now respectful. They had witnessed Alex's skill, his quick thinking, and his courage. A human had repaired the Queen's armor under fire, protected her during combat, and helped secure victory. It was a lesson they would not forget. One of the younger guards stepped forward. "Your Majesty, I never believed humans could be this capable, but Alex, he has shown us that we were wrong. We should learn from him." Lysera nodded. "Yes, humans may be different, but they are valuable allies. We must not dismiss them, and Alex Carter will help us understand their potential." Alex felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility. He had shown that humans could survive, adapt, and excel in situations that seemed impossible. He realized that his actions had changed the way the aliens saw humans, and that was more important than any personal recognition. Lysera turned to her forces, her voice strong and commanding. "Today, we have learned a valuable lesson. Strength alone is not enough. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability are just as important. Humans have shown us this, and we must remember it in the battles to come." Alex observed the battlefield, noting the calm after the storm. The Queen's armor glowed brightly, fully functional and stronger than ever. The enemy had been defeated, and her forces were ready for future conflicts. He knew that his work had made a difference, but he also knew that the true strength lay in the Queen herself. Lysera moved among her soldiers, giving orders and assessing their readiness. She was confident, powerful, and determined, and now, with Alex Carter by her side, she had an ally who could provide insight, ingenuity, and skill that no one else could offer. The Queen paused and looked at Alex. "You have proven yourself today, human. You have earned my trust, my respect, and a place at my side. Together, we will face the challenges ahead." Alex smiled slightly, feeling both pride and humility. "I will do my best, Your Majesty. I will help in any way I can." The Queen studied him for a moment, then nodded. "I believe in you, Alex Carter. You have shown that humans are capable of greatness. You have changed my perception of your kind, and you will help us prepare for the battles to come." Alex felt a sense of purpose. He had survived the battlefield, repaired the Queen's armor, and helped secure victory. But he knew that his journey was just beginning. There would be more battles, more challenges, and more opportunities to prove that humans were not weak. Lysera turned to her forces, her voice carrying across the battlefield. "We have won today, but the war is far from over. Remember the lesson we have learned. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability are just as important as strength, and never underestimate the humans among us." Alex stepped back, watching her lead her forces with confidence and power. The Queen's repaired armor allowed her to fight with speed, precision, and strength. He knew that his work had made a difference, but he also knew that the true power lay in the queen herself. For the first time, Lysera realized that humans were more than just fragile creatures. They could be clever, brave, and invaluable allies, and Alex Carter had proven it beyond doubt. The battlefield was quiet now, except for the soft hum of the Queen's armor. Smoke drifted into the sky, and the ground was scarred with the remnants of battle, but the victory was clear. The Queen had survived, the enemy had been defeated, and humans had earned respect in a way they never had before. Lysera turned to Alex one last time. "You have my trust, human, you have my respect, and you have proven that humans are capable of great things. I will not forget this day." Alex bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will continue to serve and do my best." The sun rose higher, casting golden light across the battlefield. The repaired armor reflected the sunlight, shining as a symbol of strength, courage, and the unexpected power of human ingenuity. Alex felt a sense of pride and hope. He had survived, succeeded, and shown that humans could stand alongside the most powerful beings in the galaxy. And Lysera, the queen who had once doubted humans, now knew the truth. They were clever, brave, and capable of greatness beyond imagination.